Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
I don't wanna grow up, don't wanna grow up. I don't wanna grow up, don't wanna grow up. I don't wanna grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
Welcome to the Toys R Us Report, recorded live from inside the Pooptronic Cellular Undersea Base 0001, 6.5 miles below the ocean surface. He got a call from Tony Rome. The FBI was tapping his telephone. He's your host, IC Robots.
If you're looking for me, you better check under the sea. It is your dude, IC Robots, and I am not a hero, but I do sacrifice a bit of my week each and every week to make your week a bit less week. And this week it is going to get so much less week. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. I'm 6.5 miles below the ocean surface. Can you believe that? It's crazy. Everything is true. It's all real. Let's take a listen to this new jam they've been working on over in the other side of the undersea base. Let me find it. I'll be right back.
Blast off lyrics like I'm top mapping with Excalibur, poking assholes in my challenger. I'm eating a chunk of Swiss cheese. I'm a wild freestyler, wild like Gene Wilder. We're far from commercial, no need for no rehearsal. We'll hit you from all angles, then form a circle. You are listening to the Toys R Us Report. Welcome to the future.
Hey kids, it is me, IC Robots, and I am back. That of course was Vincent Kate. She came down below with us. Everybody's here. Iceberg's here. Emily's here. So much has transpired since last we spoke. But first thing first, that was a verse from "Let Me At 'Em" by Inspector Deck, who you might know from the Wu-Tang Clan. This was one of his first, if not his first, solo efforts. It was off the Tales from the Hood soundtrack. Inspector Deck, dude, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He is a very capable MC, dude. Dude has the skills to pay the bills. Let Me At 'Em is one of my favorite jams of all the times. Go and Google that. Thanks Vincent Kate. Thanks for Vincent Emily for working that out while everything is in a state of flux. So Since last we spoke, so many weird things have gone on. A Pooptronic shuttle landed and picked us up, like, I think 13 minutes after we finished recording the Summer Movie Awards. And we were informed by a couple Pooptronics movers that we had 13 minutes to get our stuff, get back on the shuttle, and get the heck out of here, because they were going to be dropping us off under the sea. Well, actually, they dropped us off at what appeared to be like an oil rig, one of those deep sea stations, and we were pushed down some tubes into this base, 6.5 miles below the ocean surface. If you know a little bit about deep sea exploration, you know that the Marianas Trench was the deepest place in the ocean. It's 6 miles down, but a recent discovery by some of the Commodore's dudes. The Commodore, of course, he's the crazed billionaire owner of Pooptronic. Some of his dudes went down like another half a mile, and they discovered a deeper point. It's a bit of a hole. It's a hole down there at the end of the Marianas Trench, and they have named this the Commodore Trench, and that is where we are right now. The long-term plan is to set up some sort of oceanic cellular service for people on boats, I guess, cruise ships, fishing vessels, I don't know, whatever kind of boat that you happen to be on. He wants to put cell service throughout the ocean with a series of deep sea bases, and we're the first. What's our designation? 0001. That is where we are. Pooptronic's Deep Sea Base 0001 in the Commodore's Trench. 6.5 miles below. You might be wondering what it's like here. It's bigger than the Jupiter station by a lot, and there are people here, actual people. There's not just me and Emily and Iceberg and some miners and Kates. There are folks like all around the place doing various deep sea things. There are a lot of windows you can see out from almost everywhere. I've seen so many strange creatures looking out the window. I saw a spotted shark. It had glow-in-the-dark spots, and it had those, what do you call it, like an antenna with a glowing orb on the end, like that one fish, the angler, that you could see. But it was definitely a shark. It had a shark fin, but it had some glowing accoutrements for the dark, deep sea that we are in now. I don't know how long it is that we're gonna be down here. Honestly, if that was something you were wondering, the fleas and the rats and the pirates have really done a number on the base over the year, and as I understand it, the deep space cellular service hasn't been taking off as well as the Commodore had hoped. So I just don't know if he's going to put the money back into to redo the base to the fine splendor that it deserves. So until those decisions are made, we are down here below the sea. We don't have the recording studio set up as of yet, and we don't even really know if that's something we're going to be able to do. I am in an area near the wall of the, like, way in the back of one of the main pods. There's nobody here right now, but usually it's hard to find somewhere that there's nobody else at. That's why you can hear that gurgling sound. You can hear it from the outside, but it's not a lot I can do about that until we can find some area that we can use to set up the mixing board and the mics and all that stuff. I have my mic and my laptop, and I'm here in, I guess you can also hear like a little bit of the people in the back. You can also sort of hear into like the next room. There's some kind of office set up in there. There are just, I wouldn't say a ton of people, but in an area this side. Now it's a lot bigger than the Jupiter moon base, that's for sure. And there are numerous pods and such, but each pod isn't like as big as, an office building. They're big enough. But when you have 30, 40 people around, you see people, you hear people, but that is, that just is what it is, I guess. I'm still in a bit of a shock. I was aware of these undersea bases, but I never thought that I would be inside of one. Just the other day, I was up in the moon base. I'm so familiar with the moon base, and down here, I don't even know where the cafeteria is. Nobody's taken us around and shown us either. I don't know how well planned out this was in advance. It kind of feels like we just got shot down here, and nobody seems overly prepared to have us, but it's fine. We'll adjust. Everything will be good. Once they start getting the cell stuff in effect, we can go back to work and everything. I'm sure we'll adjust fine. Hey, look at that. Sometimes I wish this was on video, because I just saw the weirdest fish go by. It had a super big front and a really small rear. It was sort of like a triangle, with the base in the front, and the face was rounded off, and it had the biggest eye. The eye was like the size of a dinner plate, and it had giant teeth. So strange. It was also neon green, which is crazy because we're so far down below. But I don't know. We're gonna just try to make the best of it, do whatever we can to fit in. I don't know. Emily's off doing something. Kate's somewhere. Iceberg is somewhere. I guess Emily's gonna put this all together later on her computer and work this into a dope show. I'm just recording these folks. Let's let's move into the next segment. It's called At the Movies. I'm going to talk about a movie I saw. It was called BlacKkKlansman.
In a moment, at the movies without Ebert, Siskel, or even that dude Roper, but you've got icy robots, so that's something, right?
The KKK is planning an attack.
How do you propose to make this investigation?
I'm going undercover in the Ku Klux Klan.
You ready?
Born ready.
The wars are coming. I gotta get in deeper with these guys.
That's what I'm talking about. Power to the people.
BlacKkKlansman in theaters August 10th.
Before this whole thing happened with the transfer, I was able to get over to Summerfield Cinema and check out Spike Lee's latest joint. This one is it's a movie called BlacKkKlansman with 3 K's in the middle, like the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, the evil Klan. This is a story. Well, I think I'll just read this directly off. They hand out these little flyers about the movies at the Summerfield, and they're always informative. Let's see what it says. It's the early 1970s, and Ron Stallworth is the first African-American detective to serve in the Colorado Springs Police Department. Determined to make a name for himself, Stallworth bravely sets out on a dangerous mission: infiltrate and expose the Ku Klux Klan. The young detective soon recruits a more seasoned colleague, Flip Zimmerman, into the undercover investigation of a lifetime. Together, they team up and take down this extremist group in an incredible true story. That's the crazy thing about this whole deal. It's a true story. It's based on a true story. You know how these things do. The movie stars John David Washington, he is the son of Denzel Washington. He's on that HBO show Ballers with The Rock. He is the guy who plays football. Adam Driver, good old Kylo Ren, is in this as he's Flip Zimmerman, his partner. Also, Topher Grace, who you might know from that 70s show, plays David Duke, and like I said, this was directed by Spike Lee. I really enjoyed this movie. It felt timely with the rise of white supremacist groups here in the States now. This movie was really timely, and the dude David Duke has been in the news as of late, and it was interesting to see this performance by Topher Grace, which shows you a bit of his background. I also like John David Washington. He has like a weird, funny kind of way about him that I like. I could see him really excelling in like action comedy kind of things, because I feel like he has like a natural funniness to him. I like him. I think that he has a really good on-screen personality. I mean, his dad's Denzel, so what else do you need to know? I could really see this dude making it big, though. He has something going for him. The movie has a lot of the like Spike Lee tropes that you know and love. It blends things into like modern day events, and a lot of the way things are shot has a lot of Spike Lee signatures. But I don't mind that sort of thing. I'm not like the biggest Spike Lee fan in the world. He's definitely made movies that I like. He's also made movies that I don't like. He feels like he goes from like the highest of the high to the lowest to the low. I don't want to rate Spike Lee movies, but a lot of them are really great and a lot of them not so great. You know, one I really do like is Inside Man, the one about the bank heist with Denzel and Clive Owen. I always watch a bit of that when I see it on HBO or like on FX or wherever it plays. That would be a good one to have on Blu-ray, Inside Man, because it feels like you can just pop it in and go all the way through it. I bet you can pick that up for like $4 or $5 nowadays. Just while we're talking Blu-rays, and I don't want to delve like into this too deeply. I picked up American Hustle on eBay on Blu-ray for $3.49 with free shipping, and I got, a little expertise in the shipping business, so I estimate that to be maybe like $2.69, and you'll probably pack that in like a padded envelope. So I just sort of feel like overall they're making like 99 cents off this movie. And American Hustle is a fantastic movie with Christian Bale and Amy Adams and Who else is in that? Just everybody. Jeremy Renner is in it. It's just a terrific movie, and I'm happy to add it to my somewhat growing Blu-ray collection for only like $3.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you keep it down in here? We're trying to work in the next pot over.
What? I don't.
You're making a racket and you're scaring the fish away.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll go somewhere else. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm being loud enough to scare the fish away. We ducked into this storage area by the other side of the pod. We were able to get away from that gurgling sound. And when I say we, I mean me. I always refer to the show as we when it's just me at this moment going around with my recording device. Let me just, I don't know, I'll get out of this really quick. I thought the movie was really good. It is just over 2 hours long. It's like 86 on Tomatoes. That was the last time I looked. I don't have access to a computer. It was somewhere in the 80s to the 90s, so I liked it a lot. On the good old-fashioned Source Magazine mic meter, with 1 being a dud and 5 being an all-time classic, I am going to give BlacKkKlansman a real solid 4 mics.
4 mics.
On this episode of the Toys R Us Report, we present a special chamber, a retro toy roundup on G.I. Joe Origins, early action figures and playsets. We like to call it From Ace to Zartan.
G.I. Joe Series 2, 1983 saw the introduction of the swivel arm battle grip, as well as many new exciting characters like Destro, Doc, Ace, and Gung Ho the Marine, as well as the Hiss Tank, Wild Bill, and the Dragonfly, and G.I. Joe's signature airplane, the Sky Striker, with its pilot, Ace. It was another banner year for the franchise. Hey kids, it is me, ISR Robots, and we're back for another exciting installment of From Ace to Zartan, in which we take a look at, I would call this a figure-by-figure look at G.I. Joe year by year, and the year that we're going to be taking a look at this time is, it's 1983, the second year of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. The main thing that 1983 brought to us was it is an action feature known as the Swivel Arm Battle Grip. Basically, all the figures could twist their wrist around 360 degrees. This feature allowed for more dynamic posing of the weapon. You could like make your dudes hold the gun sideways, you could angle it better. It was a very attractive feature. Another thing that they did was that they went ahead and altered the formula for the plastic, making it less brittle. One thing we know is year one G.I. Joe thumbs break like crazy. You have to be super careful when you try to put the guns in their hands. As a matter of fact, for like most of my 1982s, I don't even try to put the gun in because I don't want the thumb to break. They went ahead and they fixed this the next year using a much softer, more pliable plastic for the hands. The swivel arm battle grip led to retooling of the original 1982 figures. So in 83, we saw everybody re-released again, and I'm reaching away here for my notes. In 1983, we saw everybody re-released all over again, and by everybody I mean Breaker, Clutch, Grand Slam, Flash, Hawk, the dude himself, Cobra Commander, Grunt, Rock and Roll, Scarlet, Snake Eye, Short Fuse, Stalker, the Cobra Soldier, and the Cobra Officer, Steel, and Zap. All those guys were re-released all over again with retooled swivel arm battle grip arms. So 1983 saw everybody in 1982 re-released, and it also saw a whole bunch of really great new guys. I'm gonna go through these kids alphabetically. The first guy is Ace. Ace is the overall first G.I. Joe alphabetically in like all the G.I. Joes. That's why we go from Ace to Zartan. Ace is the pilot of the Sky Striker. The Sky Striker is the big F-15. Is it an F-15 or is it an F-16? I do not know. I am not an expert on military aircraft. Ace is in an all-white suit, and he has a bubble dome helmet that connects to the... It has, like, I would say, like, these big shoulder pads coming out, and the helmet clicks into these shoulder pads. I've never had Ace. I've never had the Sky Striker. I think that they're cool, and I would love to have one. I'd hang it from the ceiling, but I have never, ever had one. Ace has also eluded me. His file card says that he got into the military because he was like way into poker, and he kept delving deeper and deeper into strategy games, and eventually it led to him fighting Cobra in an airplane. I always thought it was interesting that they had a dude who was designated with a vehicle. When I was a kid, it always made me wonder, was there only one Sky Striker in all of G.I. Joe? Was this guy, he was so great that he was like a one-man squad, and that was the only one there was. And then I would see the cartoons, and everybody would be flying planes. I could see Duke, Scarlet, everybody flying F-15s, and then you would hardly ever even see Ace. I feel like Ace was slept on, and that he was nowhere near as popular as his vehicle was. He went to Top Gun school. This is off of his file card as well. I wonder, does this predate the movie Top Gun? I don't even want to look it up. I don't even care that much. I'm a little bit curious about that, and don't tweet me. I'll eventually look it up, I guess.
Top Gun was released in 1986, 3 years after Ace was created. It doesn't really matter.
I like Ace. He's a very plain-looking figure. He doesn't come with a gun. He doesn't come with a knife. He doesn't come with anything except for that bubble dome helmet. But still, he's cool, man. Ace. He has that winning name. Ace is a good name. There's no way around that fact. Up next, alphabetically, is Airborne. Airborne is the helicopter assault trooper, and he comes with a helmet, a backpack, and an XM16 assault rifle. That looks like an M16, but it has a bayonet, and the stock is different. Airborne is the kind of dude, he's gonna like jump out of a helicopter and attack Cobra on sight. I dig it. That's a deadly way to go through life. Airborne grew up with a privileged lifestyle. He is a Native American chap. He graduated law school, and then after doing that for a minute, decided, you know what? There's not enough action in being a lawyer for me. I wanna jump out of helicopters and slit Cobra's throats. There is a variation on Airborne's backpacks. The inside can either come with a nice smooth surface or one with sort of an upraised cross. The one with the cross seems to be more difficult to obtain. I like Airborne. He's another one that I have never myself owned, but I would definitely like to. He's just, a real straightforward guy. He has tan pants and a blue vest with like knee pads. I dig him. He's just like a straight up, real to the bone soldier type action fig. Up next, going the alphabet route, is Cover Girl. Cover Girl is the Wolverine driver. Her original code name was Hurricane Helga, and her real name was initially listed as Ariana Krieger, as opposed to the Courtney Krieger that they later went with. Her MOS was designated as tank driver until Hasbro officially named the tracked vehicle the Wolverine. Her prototype file card states that she started modeling at 17, but quickly grew disillusioned with the work and the people it attracted. Probably some like Me Too type stuff or whatever. You know how scummy that business is. She couldn't handle it anymore. So she joined the army, and she started driving a tank. They say that she goes really far out of her way to break the stereotype of a beauty. She'll get dirty. She'll get nasty. She'll stab a Cobra in the stomach if she has to. She'll fix her Wolverine herself. She'll do what she has to do to break that image of just being a pretty face. I've never had Cover Girl or the Wolverine. I know that this is becoming like a reoccurring theme, but there are going to be some that I have had. I just don't happen to have any of these. I think it's because 2 of the 3 are ones that came with vehicle. I definitely want Cover Girl, and I definitely want the Wolverine, even though I don't have a lot of space on my shelf for vehicles right now. I would definitely make some for this gal, and her missile-firing tank. Up next is a dude who is a rehash of Series 1, but I feel like there's enough of a variance that he was worth mentioning. This is Grand Slam. Grand Slam is, in this, he is the laser-firing jetpack soldier. He came equipped with the jetpack, dude. You know, that cool jetpack deal. The first time around, it didn't come with anybody, and I think that I always use Stalker with it, but this time around, it came with Grand Slam, and the variant is that his front is painted silver as opposed to being painted red. This is a highly desirable action figure, but that's mostly because the silver paint comes off very easily, so you don't find a lot of these guys in great shape. It comes with a helmet and a visor. Up next is Doc. Doc is the team medic. He is the first team medic. He comes in a nice khaki outfit with what first appears to be a grenade launcher, but is actually a flare. And he has a stretcher that attaches to the bottom of the Dragonfly. It's great. I always wanted Doc when I was younger because I felt like my boys needed a medic. You know, they needed somebody to take care of them when Cobra filled them full of lead, and I never had somebody. Eventually I had Lifeline, but I never had Doc. I liked Doc because he seemed more of like an authentic medical guy from the Vietnam era. When we were younger, Vietnam was the war that we were all obsessed with, and he seemed like somebody who was just out of like the Quezon Delta or something. I could really see him slogging through the jungle, doing what he had to go protect our guys. Doc's character was that of an avowed pacifist. He was one of the few G.I. Joes who did not have a gun, either molded onto their clothes or with them as an accessory. Doc he was not about that. He was a high-level surgeon back in the real world, and he joined the military because he felt that our boys deserved the best. In the G.I. Joe comic book, Doc met the ultimate fate. He was killed by some sort of a Cobra Viper. He was one of a few dudes who was killed at the same time. I can't recall anybody else, but they were all taken prisoner, and then they got sprayed. Doc, you didn't make it. I have Doc now. He's one of my favorites. I got him up there on my shelf of Joes. I think that I don't know. I like the fact that these guys, they're going off to war, and they have somebody here who will take care of them. Doc is a great action figure.
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe.
Cobra's attacking our winter outpost. Call them the members of the G.I. Joe team.
And here's Gung Ho, Airborne, Doc, and Snow Job. And every Joe has a two-handed battle grip.
Get aboard the Battle Bear. It's G.I. Joe to the rescue.
G.I. Joe, American hero.
We chased off Cobra. Way to go, Joe.
G.I. Joe Battle Bear, Joe and Cobra figures each sold separately from Hasbro.
All right, we are back, and we'll soon get to some of those dudes in that commercial. But first, we have Grunt. Grunt was first issued in 1982. He also came out in this set in two different forms. One in green with the battle arms, the swivel arm, battle grip rather, and with a tan outfit. The tan outfit version came with the Falcon glider, this is the one we're talking about right now, the tan Grunt. I had this one. I had the Falcon glider. It was destroyed the first time that I took it out, but I had the Grunt for the longest time. He doesn't come with any weapon or backpack. He does have a helmet, but he came with the glider. The next dude alphabetically is the G.I. Joe Marine, Gung Ho. Gung Ho was one of the main dudes on the show and in other media too, the comics and stuff. He was definitely one of the top rated Joes. I've never owned Gung Ho. He's one that I do want to get. I just haven't seen the opportunity to pick him up. He has a very interesting outfit. It's almost Village People-ish. He's wearing a vest with his shirt open. He has the Marine symbol tattooed on his chest. He has a cute little hat and some camouflage pants. He comes with a grenade launcher and a backpack. It's blue. It's like a blue backpack. Gung Ho, though, he's one of the dudes, man. He got a lot of airtime on the show. If you had to like pick like your top 10 Joes that had the biggest shadow, they cast the biggest shadow, I feel like Gung Ho would be on that list. I don't have any real like anecdote about Gung Ho. Let's see what I can find right here. He was born into a large back swamp Cajun clan, and he was working in the family poaching business by the age of 13. By 17, he had moved to New Orleans and became a noted bare knuckle fighter. He was he's out there punching dudes in the face. That's not cool, but at least he saw that he had that proclivity, and he got himself into the military. That's a great place to take that kind of aggression, and it took him far. He made the G.I. Joe team. He turned his aggressive nature into a real positive for the country. I can definitely dig that. Let's scooch on to the next dude. The next dude is one of my favorite Joe figures of all the Joe figures there's ever been. This is a guy who goes by the name of Snowjob. Snowjob is the Arctic Trooper. He is dressed in all white with a parka, with a furry collar that surrounds his head. He has a red beard and big black goggles. He comes with some of the great accessories in the early figures. He has a rifle. He has a rifle, which is an XMR R34, and he has skis and ski poles. The skis and the ski pole attached to his backpack, so it becomes like this sort of a sled that he can wear on his back. I know that I did definitely have him sledding around on the backpack thing when I was younger. He was one of my faves. I had this dude. I right now have two. I have two of them complete. I pick him up loose whenever I see him, and I do see him from time to time, like in random bins of action figures. He must have been a big seller at the time, because there's like, I'm not going to say there's like a lot of him out there, but you do find a couple every year. I have him and one other complete, and I know that I have a couple other loosey-goosey ones. One has a broken crotch, and one I think is like a re-release. At one point they re-released a lot of Joes. He's more cream colored than he is white. The one that I have now, my best one, it's not really that white. The white figures they yellow over time, and he's one that, this one that I have doesn't have a ton of yellowing, but it's not bone white either. I tried the peroxide treatment. If you take an action figure and you make like a solution of peroxide water, you can put it out in the sun in like a, some kind of a container with like a clear lid, and the sunbeams will bleach it out a bit. I've had a bit of success with this in the past. I did to a Wampa, a Star Wars Wampa, and it came out much, much, much better. But the snow job did get a little bit better, but not really all that much. It's noticeable. It's definitely noticeable, but it's not fantastic. But still, I like him a lot. I like the way his rifle fits in his hand really, really smoothly. And I don't know. I like the idea that he is an expert on this one area. I dig that. I kind of like specialty guys. I guess that might be one of the things that draws me to G.I. Joe. Everybody is a specialist in one way or the other. As I recall, Snowjob's background was that he was an Olympic competitor in the biathlon, the one where you ski and you also shoot, and he was recruited into the army, or maybe he joined willingly, but his athletic acumen and his, abilities that he led him all the way to the top, led him to being a Joe. Let's skadooch to the next guy. This is another specialist. This is Torpedo, and he was the G.I. Joe Navy SEAL. When I was a kid, I didn't really know what a Navy SEAL was. I think that in that generation we called them like Navy frogmen. I think that the Navy diver dudes that you would see in movies and stuff every once in a while, I think that those guys might have been Navy SEALs. I think we all know now that SEALs are like the toughest and the dopest, but at the time, that wasn't like a widely known thing. At least not to me. I think it was like SEAL Team 6 that brought these guys to the forefront. I had Torpedo back in the day. Now I do have him, but only only without his accessories. I don't have the completed one yet. I would like to someday. He's a cool figure. He's in a black and gray scuba outfit with like a mouthpiece and stuff. He comes with 2 flippers, a dart gun, and some kind of like an air tank backpack that looks like it has missiles on the side. At least I would always pretend that there were missiles there. It says on his file card that he was a black belt in Wushu, Kenpo, Goju-Ryu Karate, as well as being proficient in the Filipino butterfly knife, the Balasong. He trained at Navy SEAL School, and then he went on to another top secret thing. He is a strict vegetarian, and he's regarded as a highly trained pro by his teammates. That's nice. It's always nice to get credit from your peers. I think this is a good figure. He's a very nice example of what G.I. Joe was capable of. There's some nice details to his legs, little pouches, and he has like a mouthpiece built in. And I really dig the flippers. Let's move forward into the next dude. This is one that I had back in the day, and one that I have right now. He is the G.I. Joe Mine Detector, a.k.a. Tripwire. I had Tripwire when I was a kid. I got him at Ben Franklin's. I was really attracted to the 3 mines that he came packed with. Tripwire's wearing all green. He has like a gray vest that I assume is to protect him from any kind of ordnance. He comes with like a mine detector. It's like a metal detector with a cable that connects to the backpack. And inside the backpack fits 3 landmines. I was super into these landmines for some reason. I'd have Tripwire, like, he would like hide them near Cobra, and then like Major Blood would step out and he would get blown sky high. I don't know in the G.I. Joe mythos if Tripwire was supposed to be laying mines, finding mines, or both. I have no idea. In my mythos, he buried mines as well as finding them. Sometimes he would find them, dig them up, put them in his backpack. I guess he would defuse them first. He'd put them in his backpack and then go bury him next to Cobra Commander's house. Let's see what it says on his dossier. Subject dropped out of high school at the naval base in Yosuku, Japan. His father is a career Navy. He spent 2 years in a Zen monastery where he was tossed out for breaking plates and being a general klutz. See, that's where you get a little bit of comedy. He used to be like a super klutz back when he was at the monastery, but now he has like nerves of steel that enable him to pick any landmine up, defuse it, stick it in his backpack, and walk away unharmed. The next dude up is one that I do not have now, nor did I have as a youth. He was I would say he was kind of one of the main dudes. His name is Wild Bill. Wild Bill was the pilot of the helicopter known as the Dragonfly. Wild Bill had this whole cowboy thing going on. He wore a cowboy hat. He talked all Western style. He was cool, man. I would call him one of the main dudes on the show. I feel like you always seeing Wild Bill. You were always hearing that country twang. He really like reminds me of a Vietnam type dude, like Robert Duvall in Apocalypse Now, flying around and loving the smell of napalm in the morning. His hat is really like one of those old cavalry hats as opposed to like a cowboy hat. He's pretty standard otherwise. He does have two 6-shooters though as his sidearm, and his belt buckle has, I would call it the shape of a bull on it. To go with that whole cowboy thing, the belt buckle wipes off pretty easily. A lot of these silver aspects of the early figures come off. They come off fairly easily. So if you find a Wild Bill that has that belt buckle, hold on to that as if it's made of gold, because it just might be. Wild Bill is the final of the G.I. Joe guys. Let's take a quick break, and we will be back with the start of Cobra.
He's a terrifying enemy of G.I. Joe. Destro is his name. Destro is his name. American hero. Fighting evil Destro. Introducing Destro.
You better watch out, Joe. Hey, what's going on? Destro's stealing our tank. We gotta stop him. We're gonna get you, Destro. You've met your match, Joe. Destro is here.
G.I. Joe Battle Tank comes with figure, other figures, and Destro sold separately from Hasbro.
And now we begin our look at Cobra. For every great good guy, you need a great bad guy. And Cobra was a great bad guy. I got my guide way across over here. I should have been more prepared, but I was not, and I apologize. We got Destro up first. Destro is an arms merchant. He's the guy who sells Cobra all of those evil guns that they use. He sold him the mass device. He sold him the Hiss tanks. He sold him everything, man. This guy is the scum of the earth. Weapons dealers are, I don't know, man. That's a questionable trade. Destro has a silver metallic head, an open shirt, and a black jumpsuit. He comes with a small laser pistol and a backpack that if you open it up, you can see some of the wares that he has for sale. You can see like little guns molded in there. It's a nice accessory. I have a Destro. I do not have a 1983 Destro. I have one. I think he's the Iron Grenadier's Destro. He has a golden head and a cape. This one, though, I really like this action figure. I was never so much into the character of Destro back in the day. I liked him. I thought he was, a good adversary, but I thought that he took attention away from Cobra. I didn't like it when they changed the intro to say, it's G.I. Joe fighting Cobra and Destro. I don't know, man. It always bugged me. I wanted to keep Cobra as the main foil. As much as I admire Destro, he wasn't my dude. I do like him as a character in the comics. He kind of comes across like he's noble, like he's a noble villain. He is supposedly Scottish, if I recall right, and he's involved with the Baroness. That goes like way back. I believe, if I recall right from the G.I. Joe comic run, they met like in their prep school days. Like each one was like wealthy upper crust, and they went to like an uppity kind of school, and they met there, and they both eventually became terrorists. The next guy up is there's a pair of guys coming up. Each one is the driver of a vehicle. The first one is the Cobra Hiss driver. The Cobra Hiss driver is red. I didn't have him back then, and I don't have him now. I have a Hiss. I actually believe I have three Cobra Hisses. It's a black tank with a turret that a person can sit in, and then there's also a driver. I don't have the driver. Like I said, he's red. He has a silver logo on the front, and we've learned in the past the silver wipes off. So keep an eye out for that if you're gonna pick one of these guys up. He doesn't come with any like handguns or whatever. His accessory is the tank, or maybe more accurately, he is the accessory to the tank. Hold on one sec. The next guy is the Viper pilot. The Viper it's the Cobra plane. This plane is dope. It's like reminiscent of a Vietnam era fighter plane. It's really, really great. I've never had this. I have wanted it. Someday, hopefully I will have this. There were actually 2 more figures in this set, but they have sort of a disputed date, so I thought that I would bring them up toward the end. They are 2 mail-away characters. The first one is Duke. Duke was one of the big characters on the show. He's the first sergeant for the team. I have Duke. I have him right now. I have him complete. I put him together. I had the figure, and then I put together the pieces. I I also had him back in the day. I mailed away for him. He comes with a M32 submachine gun, binoculars, backpack, and a helmet. I also recall there was like a small sticker that came with him. It was like an American flag, and I was never really clear what I was supposed to do with that sticker. I stuck it on the headboard of my bed. Duke is cool, man. I got no problem with Duke being one of the main dudes. Another guy is Major Blood. Major Blood is a mercenary that works for Cobra. He is Australian, and he was another mail-away guy that I also remember getting. I was big into mail-aways back in the olden times. If it was something where you had to like collect points, in this case, you had to collect flag points off the back of the cards. If I saw something where you had to do something like that, I was all over it. I would go for a free figure, even though it was not really free. He comes with a laser pistol and like a missile backpack. He has one arm that looks like a robot arm, like he's Misty Knight. He is Australian, like I said, and he is known as a poet. He has been published in a few prison journals. I like Major Blood. He's always been a fave of mine. I have a Major Blood now. He was one of the first dudes I got when I got back into collecting loose G.I. Joes. I have really good memories of getting him in the mail. It's one of my favorite things. It was always so great to get mail back in the times. I've said back in the times too many times, but it's like I'm reminiscing, you know. What am I supposed to say? So it was always fun to get stuff in the mail. Now it is still fun to get stuff in the mail. I got a package from my man Phil Carey. He sent me a Happy Meal box. I was ecstatic. I got that the other day, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, a package. I opened it up. It was completely unexpected. He said he was going to mail it, and I knew that he was good for it, but you never know when something's going to show up. You never know how the mail is, and when it arrived, I was super pleased. So, Phil, if you're listening to this right now, I got to give a big up to you. Phil is the dude who won the Christmas junk box. Very, very generous dude with the Toys for Tots. So there you have it. There are all of the figures in the 1983 Series 2 G.I. Joe. We have gone from Ace to Zartan for this year, and, well, let's take a quick break, and we will be back with the final segment of the show.
Covering the world of vintage and current film and television since 2010.
Shall we play a game?
Featuring in-depth conversations on sci-fi, horror, fantasy, comics, toys, and conventions.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Geekfest Rants is an entertainment podcast for genre geeks like you.
So say we all. So say we all.
Join us by listening in at iTunes, YouTube, and at geekfestrants.com.
You made it this far, it's time, the final segment. The IC Robots Radio Pop Culture / Toy News / Other Boring Stuff Informational Moment.
Alright, we're back for the final segment of the show. Man, that's fun. I love G.I. Joe. I love the characters. I don't know, man. They really speak to me. So let's see what's going on. Well, we've just been hanging and clanging down here on the ocean's floor. I did get the chance to go to the flea market the other day. I'll talk about that in a sec. Let's why don't we start off with, maybe we'll start off with some voicemails. I know we got one around here somewhere. If you would like to send us a voicemail, man, feel free to do so. The number is 707-532-JAMS. That is 5267 707-532-JAMS. You can call, you can leave us a voicemail. You can leave us a text message if you want. And if it's cool, if it's funny, I'll read it on the air. If you send us a message, I'll play it on the air. It's fun. You want to send some feedback? Let me know what you think about us being down here at the bottom of the sea. I would be interested to hear your take on that. I'm still thinking about the Summer Movie Awards. If you got some feedback about that, I would definitely hear it. I don't know what's up with my voice right now. It's going all over the place. I'm a bit out of sorts, man, being down here. It's weird. It's cold. It's cold all the time. I have my, my Pooptronics jumpsuit on. I've had to put on like a Pooptronics sweater. They have these big fluffy sweaters that they wear down here, and I got like a cap, like a beanie hat that I wear. It's like an Oakland A's beanie hat. I'm a big A's fan. They're battling for first. I want to know how that's going, but we don't get the baseball updates down here till the next day. I can't explain why that is. It's just the way that it is. Let's dig around and find a voicemail. I got one right here. Let's check it out.
Hey, IC Robots, let me interrupt your show for a second. The last time you took calls, I heard that the sensational Gino Vega might make a comeback. Some people might know, but if they don't, I'm going to tell them. Other than the creator, administrator, and ultimate bad dude on Classic Wrestling Stars' Facebook page, I'm a world traveler. That's right. I've been from coast to coast and all over the globe. You name it, I've been there. And it was all good. But now, everywhere I go, when I talk about IC Robots Radio Network, people ask me, when's the sensational Gino Vega coming back? Where's his podcast? Where's Gino Vega? Everywhere I go, man. So let me tell you something, Mr. Sensational Gino Vega, if that is your real name, this has got to stop. People are driving me crazy, and it's your fault. At this exact moment, I have a call waiting on the other line, and they're probably going to be asking me about you. So go back to doing your podcast. If not, you and me are going to have to take care of business inside the ring. And I know you don't want that. Not even your hero, Roman Reigns, will be able to help you there.
Yikes, man. Those are some fighting words. Not so much the podcast part, but when you got to where you mentioned Roman Reigns, those are definitely fighting words as far as Gino Vega is concerned. I actually talked to Homie today, and he told me that he's like most of the way through an episode. So I think that he's telling the truth. I think that he will be back, and I think that we'll all be happy. That was, of course, our dude Javier from the Classic Wrestling Stars Facebook page. That's one of my favorite Facebook pages. I keep saying that over and over and over again, but he keeps posting these magazine covers that makes me fall in love again. That was a heck of a promo, dude. I don't know where to take it from there. I was over at the Target. I hate leading off with I was over at the Target. It was so much more fun to be like I was over at the Toys R Us, but I am in fact at the Target. Speaking of Toys R Us, they finally took the big light up Toys R Us off the front of the building. I wonder what happens to something like that. If you are in some sort of a business where please reach out to me. I'm totally curious what happens to a sign when it comes down. I would be willing to put some money into acquiring this sign. Not a lot. They took it down, and I'm all out of sorts. I'm down at the bottom of the sea. It's all weird, but I was able to get over to the Target to pick up another Mego. We have like 2 Targets in Santa Rosa, and then there's one in Rohnert Park, and then we went to the one in Vallejo. So I've hit up like all those Targets, and only one, the one in Cottingtown, has the Migos, and they haven't restocked at all since the first time they put them out. The first day, it looks like the 12 inches got wiped out. People went for the Harley Quinn, they went for the Batman, they went for the Wonder Woman. They left the General Zod. All that's there is General Zod, and he's been sitting there like the entire time, and they haven't restocked the standard Migos either. It looks like there's still no Draculas, still no Jimi Hendrix. I saw my man Rob from the zonebase.org. He got himself up on a Dracula, so I have not given up hope that maybe someday I will. You can't even pick him up on the Target website. I looked. I never do that, but I want it so bad that I considered just buying it online. I haven't seen it. I did pick up a second Mego. I got Chekhov. I was really torn between Chekhov, who I do need to finish my bridge set, or Action Jackson, who I like. I like his jumpsuit. It's like my Pooptronics jumpsuit. I I like his little gun. I think he's cool. I really considered Norm. When I consider Migos from the past, one of the things I look at is I really respect how they had all these wacky licenses like Welcome Back Kotter, like Chips, just all these wacky ones. And when I look at some of these ones they have now, like Cheers or Married with Children, I think that's such a wacky license. And I should probably get up on it, because if I saw like a Mr. Cotter at the flea market, a Mr. Cotter Migo, I would scoop it up and think it was just like the coolest, funniest thing. So in reality, like seeing a Norm Peterson from Cheers with a little beard should be the same thing. So I considered him as well, but I ended up going with Chekhov. I haven't opened him yet. I imagine he's like the same quality as the Sulu, but it's going to be cool to have him up on the bridge, my vintage Migo bridge, and have that all set straight. They posted over on the Migo Museum that they got like a small corner of a snapshot of a couple of figures from the Wave 2. One of them was Kiss. I think it was Gene Simmons. I don't know. I cannot recall. But then they showed a small snippet of a picture that appears to be Frankenstein. It's like green. You see like chains. That's who I'm thinking. I would definitely go for a Frankenstein Migo. I would be so all over that. I want him. I want Dracula. I want the werewolf. I want all these. I really do dig the Migo scale. When I check out the racks, like the Migo racks over at the Target in Cottingtown, all of the female characters are left. There's like a million Tooties, a million Peg Bundys, a million Alices. It looks like the first two have rooted hair, but I think Alice has like flocked hair. I'm not too sure. They also have the gal from Charmed and the gal from Charlie's Angels with the rooted hair. I don't know. Maybe people feel similarly to me that rooted hair makes it a doll, and that kind of stretches that fine line between playing with action figures and playing with dolls that some people are feared to tread. I picked up a few comic books at the flea market the other day. It was the last 40 and 8 flea market of the year, and it kind of caught me by surprise. I thought it was a Mojo Sales, but it turned out it was a 40 and 8. So when I got there, I wasn't fully prepared, man, but I still did my best. This is a pretty big flea market. It takes like a couple hours to go through if you're really digging hard. And toward the end, I found a big box of comics that some guy had, and he had them for $1 each. And I went through those. I looked around. There was a lot of interesting stuff. But as I'm working on that comic book reorganization project in the garage, I don't want to get slogged down with, various this and that. But I did manage to pull out a few, not quite gems, but a few interesting comics. I got a Micronauts #1, Shogun Warriors #1, and Battlestar Galactica #1. These are like $15, maybe $20 books at the most, but I do think that they are neat. The Shogun Warriors #1 has a really great cover, and I've always been a big fan of Battlestar Galactica, and the Micronauts are dope too. When I was a kid, I had like a couple Micronauts toys, but they had the magnetic joints. I lost their arms and their heads. I lost all of them over time. Those are like a toy almost for kind of not a teenager necessarily, but somebody who's a little bit older, a bit more responsible. And I had these back when I was in Illinois, and I lost all of them, but I think that they are really neat. I wouldn't mind getting up on a couple now if I could find them at the 40 and 8 flea market. But I'm pretty pleased with these comics. They aren't necessarily wall comics per se, but they are maybe garage wall comics. I have like a display section in there too that has like a few comics. Nothing like awesome. I have like the first appearance of Booster Gold. I have like the first issue of Captain Carrot. Things like that. Things that are more fun. The much cooler, more, I hate to say valuable ones, but the older, cooler ones. They come in the house. They're on the wall of the Earth base office. I kind of wish I was there now. It's so cold down here all the time. I I don't know if this is something I'll get accustomed to. Of course, it's like freezing cold up on Callisto, but we had like space heaters and stuff. The people here don't seem like super concerned with that kind of stuff. They have parkas. There are parkas with the hoods up, and I'm like I said, I'm in my Pooptronics brand jumpsuit. I don't know, man. This is all going to take like a massive amount of adjustment, I think. I hope to be there. I hope to be there soon. I think that I will. I don't know. I mean, I've adjusted to life on Callisto, I guess. Before we go, I want to send a big shout out to Vic Sage. Just the other week, Vic Sage took the Summer Movie Awards, the previous episode, and he played it at the Arcadia Retrocade. He had like the worldwide premiere of the IC Robots Radio Summer Movie Awards, featuring Vic Sage, featuring Gino Vega, featuring many other luminaries, Ferg, Carlos, Doug McCoy, and he played it on the big screen at the Arcadia Retrocade. That is like, to me, that is beyond perfect. If you said you could premiere this anywhere you want, I might very well pick the Arcadia Retrocade over in Arkansas, where Vic Sage lives. I've never been there. I want to. It's one of my holy grail trips, I think, and I'm pleased as punch to see that it was up there on the wall, and I hope all the kids at Arcadia dug it. I got to give it up to all of you. Got to give up to Arcadia. Got to give up to everybody. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna get up out of here. I gotta try to find some kind of a purpose. They haven't really given us like a job or anything. I don't even know who I'm supposed to report to or whatever. And I think Emily is hard at work on trying to find like a closet or some kind of recording area where we can really cut loose. I don't know, man. It is what it is. So I think next week I might actually talk about this comic book project that I've been undertaking. I'm almost done, and I have some like somewhat interesting findings, I think, of what my collection actually consists of. You know, you have like an idea of what you have, but then when you get it all sorted out, you kind of discover it's not necessarily what you thought it was, I guess. And I don't know. It's not like there's any big secret or anything. Don't think that I'm like, I found Action Comics #1 and Detective 27 in there. It was great. Fantastic Four #1. I found all of it. It wasn't at all like that. But we'll talk about that next week. I think that should be fun. So I'm going to sign off. This is episode number 166 of the Good Old Toys R Us Report. For Engineer Emily, for Ensign Kate, for Iceberg, for everybody out there, for Javier, I don't know, Gino Vega, everybody. It's until next time. If you don't know, now you know.
Come on! Everybody love everybody!
This is 36 KICU, San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland.
This has been an IC Robots Radio production. IC Robots Radio is a listener-supported endeavor. If you like what we do and we make your day a little easier, please consider tossing a few bucks our way to help keep the life support running. All money collected goes to help us prepare for future space pirate attacks. Go on over to supportthereport.com for all the details. Thanks and have a great week.